Like I said, welcome. We have a great show for you today, and I have a good friend of mine, Jennifer Ruskin, with us today. And I've been following Jennifer for a little while now, and she's really coming into her own and doing things to help sellers that I really love a lot. And so she's excited to be here today. I know that we sent you guys out a workbook. I'm excited when you guys get workbooks because that means that, guess what? It's interactive. And she wants to really help you, and the only way she can help you is you follow along in the workbook and do the things that are needed so that we can move your business along. Hey, Jennifer, welcome, and we're glad to have you back after almost 2 years.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be here. And you're right, you really have gotten to watch my career advance. I feel like a year or two ago, I was such a little baby, and John was so nice to have me on the show. And we talked about Amazon, and it was fun. Today, I'm doing something a little bit different, guys. It's definitely different for the JB show / which was ProSeller Talk. You guys, I think, typically have someone come on here and just talk to you about what they do and something of that nature. Today is going to be super interactive, and I'm going to have you guys work through a process. So today's conversation is really going to be focused on if you're stuck in a 9-to-5 job, if you're tethered to your desk, you might be on your lunch break right now, like huddled in a corner listening to this. This conversation today is to help you move from where you are to have Amazon fully support you in your business. So I'm going to do a share screen. Super excited about this. Like I said, it is going to be interactive. So let me get to where I need to get. And we're going to, the name of this particular webinar was really, really long. And so I'm affectionately calling it 5 Steps to Unstuck. If you feel like your Amazon business is stuck or your life is stuck and you're really wanting to create a business that fully supports you, that's what today is all about. So I want to welcome every single one of you for being on and for showing up today, because it's tough to change and to move into something else. John, were you going to say something? I didn't mean to talk over you.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, guys, before we get rolling, and we've got a lot of content
and
things for you to do, we just want to make sure that you can hear Jennifer okay. Can you guys type a 1 in the chat to let us know that you hear Jennifer loud and clear? We're getting those 1s.
All right.
All right, you're ready to roll, Jennifer. Excited to have you.
Okay. So over the next hour, and we are going to move fast and furious because I only have an hour. I typically go through this process with my business coaching clients, and we have 2 to 3 hours. So John, don't worry. I'm not going to take 2 to 3 hours on Facebook Live and your webinar to do this. We're going to move pretty quickly through it. So let's go. All right. So I wanted to take just a minute and introduce myself. Most of you guys have no idea who I am. Why is Jennifer talking to us? Why does John want her to talk to us? My background's retail. It's mass retail, it's brick and mortar. I spent 7 years at Walmart, from buying to replenishment to all kinds of different things around the box. And so I've spent now 15 years either working directly for or with the world's largest retailer, in the last 3 years adding Amazon to my business. And Amazon's my favorite. So don't tell anybody on the Walmart side of my business that, but Amazon's my favorite. And I love that it can truly support us financially, and it can support us to create a world for us where we're, working from the beach. I don't know if you guys have ever done that. I love that you're utilizing your notes in the comments. And if you want to comment and let us know if you already are selling on Amazon, what has it done to change your life? Has it allowed you to work from the beach? Has it allowed you to pick your kids up in Carline every day? Has it allowed you financial freedom in a way that maybe your 9-to-5 doesn't? We're going to unpack all of this today. So I'm really excited. So over the past few years, I've created over $10 million plus sellers, both in Walmart and in Amazon. And I feel like I've learned a thing or two. And so I'm hoping that this will help you today as we cover that. So another picture with me in it. I'm sure you don't want to see more pictures with me, but I just wanted to just kind of settle in for a minute into our conversation here and talk about family, right? Because family is the reason that we're all here. John's giving me a thumbs up. This is my family. Here's my little 2 munchkins and my husband, and we just did this photo shoot a couple months ago at the fair. Life can feel like a carnival. It really can. It can be up and it can be down, but it can also be fun and exciting and robust and free and all these things kind of encapsulated into this picture that I wanted you guys to feel down into your own hearts and into your own family. And imagine the kind of world, imagine the kind of job that we can create for you together where you can feel like this every day. You can like want to jump out of bed every morning at 5 a.m. like I do, because you have a business that's fun and you have a team that you've created and you're making so much money that you can do anything that you want to do. So don't worry, I am not here to sell you Mary Kay or Amway or any kind of MLM thing. This is a real, true business with real, true financial freedom that you can create yourself too. So there you go. Let's keep moving on. We love our families. Okay, if you were able to download the workbook, now would be the time to go ahead and grab it. If you printed it off, go ahead and grab it, get a pen. If you didn't and you are super into saving trees, you can use Adobe PDF Editor. I love to use that as well. We can also old school this. So if you have a notebook, a piece of paper, whatever, you're going to be writing a lot today. We're going to be doing some brainstorming exercises, some calendaring exercises, and we're going to start here. Okay? All right. As you guys are getting ready, I'm going to help you get ready too. So I want you to start making a list, just brain dump 10 things that you think you might want to sell on Amazon. 10 things. It could be, I want to sell coffee cups. It could be, I want to sell a food item. It could be anything. I don't care. But take 30 seconds right now and brain dump a list of 10 items that you are interested in selling on Amazon. Go ahead, make your list. It can be more than 10, but it needs to be at least 5 to 10, because I'm going to have you choose in a minute which one we're going to move forward with. Okay, when you get your list of 10, I want you guys to head over to comments and type 10. So I know you're done. Great, thank you, John. John says he's interested in pet, grocery, makeup, and toys. Perfect. John, could you get any more granular than that? Are we talking about dog leashes, cat food, lipstick, eyeliner, toys for baby, like wooden toys? Maybe you can get a little bit more granular as everybody else is making their lists. And if anybody else wants to share their list, we'd love to see it. I wonder if anyone has the same categories as John. So I've been thinking, okay, let's see, John's got us some more. Booties to help old dogs walk better who are having problems walking. I like it. Okay, by now everyone should have made a list of 10. I'm assuming you guys have gotten that far. Next, I want you to take your list of 10 and do a big circle, couple circles around your number one item. You can only choose one today, because we're going to need it for the rest of these exercises. Deborah, thank you. I see that you're interested in teas and personalized jewelry. Again, can you get more granular than this? Is it personalized necklaces, like the kind that drop down the gold bar kind of thing? Is it maybe a bracelet? Is it a ring? Maybe it's birthstone rings. What kind of tea? See if you can get any more granular than that. And then you guys are going to choose just one item that we're going to move forward with. John, I'm assuming that you're landing on your booties for old dogs, right? Yeah, okay. Good job. Deborah, what are you going to choose? She says necklaces and bracelets. Okay, perfect. Okay, now that you have your list and you have your number one item, I'm just checking my notes to make sure that I cover everything that I have written down for you guys. We are going to start brainstorming all the things that we need. Thank you, Robert. Reusable shopping bags. Very good. Okay, so now we're going to brainstorm all the things that we think that we're going to need to make that a reality. So if Robert's doing reusable shopping bags, what all is he going to need to do to make it happen and make it a live item on Amazon? Now, John, Deborah, and Robert, the three of you have been willing to be participants. So I'd love to hear from each one of you. Are you already selling on Amazon? Do you already have an account? Or are you starting from scratch? Because that'll allow me to kind of personalize what I talk about, give you some ideas. Manuka honey. Thanks, Jen. That sounds amazing. Deborah's starting this month. Awesome. Okay, Robert, Jen, and John, are you selling on Amazon today? Jen selling. Robert has a store but hasn't been pushing lately. Perfect. So we have two different buckets of sellers on here today. We have Deborah, who's brand new and starting this month. We have Jen, John, Robert, and hold on, I had one more. Deborah, Robert, John, Jen. All of you guys are already selling. So I'm going to give some ideas to Deborah, who is just starting this month, of some things that you might want to put on your list to make your jewelry. Yes, making sure I have all this stuck in my head. Deborah's jewelry. Deborah, here's some things that you might need to do. So take some notes, because we're going to get even more granular than this list. We're still a little 30,000 foot view here, okay? Maybe we're 10,000 at this point. You might want to research shopper volume, shopper searches, to make sure that there's demand for the kind of jewelry that you want to create. So that's one thing. You might also want to validate that the category that you're in has enough money coming in to support your business. So a question for you, Deborah, how much a month would you say you need to be making in retail sales to be able to quit your day job, or to be able to say, this jewelry business is exactly where I need it to be and it's fully functioning? Is there a certain number, Deborah, that you feel like at retail dollars, here's how much I need to make a month from my account? 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000. And I'm talking about minimums here. So if I'm Deborah and I'm working in a cubicle and I really want to get out of there, what do I think at retail I need to be making? And you can then kind of divide that by 50% or even 40 or 30% to say, okay, that's what I'm going to really take home. 10. Okay, great. So Deborah, as you're doing your searches, you want to make sure that the volume that comes in at retail sales is at least 10,000 for the top few items. There's some different programs that you can use, Deborah, like Merchant Words is great to look for search volume, and Jungle Scout's really great to look for the actual retail sales. You'll want to use both of those to find your end product. And John, I'll mention another program for the more advanced sellers, but when you first start out, those are the really easy programs to use. Okay, another thing to think about, Deborah, is you're going to need to figure out who's going to manufacture this for you. Are you doing it yourself? Do you make jewelry? Do you have someone local? Is this going to be made in the USA? Are you going to outsource it? And there's a new feature now in Jungle Scout that will allow you, and I sent this to John a week ago, and I'm like, this is a game changer. It allows you to see the manufacturer. You can actually see the factories on the top items, and this will make it really easy for you, Deborah, if you decide to outsource to another country, okay? Another thing that you might have on your list, Deborah, and anybody else that's brand new, she says printful. I'm not sure what that means. Okay, she says, I'm sorry, another thing to add to your list, Deborah, contact at least 3 manufacturers to get the quote. So if you decide to use Jungle Scout to help find the factories or the manufacturers, you need to at least pick 3 and then contact them. Diana says hard candy. Oh, that sounds delicious. Okay. Okay, Deborah, another thing you're going to want to do is get samples. You want to get samples from those 3 factories, and then you need to pick one that you're going to move forward with. And then you need to place an order. And by then, you need to have your Amazon account figured out. Like, you need to have your seller account open. You need to have your items created. You want to have everything fully optimized. And you have a little lead time in that. So if you put your order in with the factory, and let's say you are in China, you might have 2 to even 4 weeks before that product hits for you to be able to fully optimize those listings. But you at least need to have your listings up so you can create your order on the Amazon side. That makes sense. Okay. That's my list for Deborah. Now, for all of you that already have an account, here are some things that I thought you might want to add to your list. You might, as you launch a new item or as you go into fall, you might want to take your current account, all your listings, and you might want to pull some fresh keywords, right? I mean, are your keywords stale? How often are you updating them? It might be a good idea to go ahead and get those all refreshed, especially as we go into Q4. Now, I had told Deborah to use Merchant Words and Jungle Scout. If you're more of a pro seller, I would use something like ASIN Inspector Pro that has lots of little gadgets inside of it that can show you pricing history and maybe which price is the best, that can show you other sellers and what they're selling and how many they might have on hand, that can extrapolate out from the best sellers, sales converting keywords. All of that is more of a pro level that I wouldn't tell Deborah to go do because it's kind of confusing, but you guys would get and that you guys would need to kind of up level your account. Okay. Another thought would be scrub and replace. Once you get your keywords from ASIN Inspector Pro or however you normally pull them, go ahead and scrub your listings. So scrub your title, maybe put a few new little keywords in there, and then scrub your bullets and make sure that you have some fresh stuff in there. And whatever you find to be your top keywords, your top converting ones, go ahead and put those into your pay-per-click ads too, so that you can start testing those out. And I feel like it's like a double hitter on Amazon if you can put them in your listings and then you can also put them in your ads. It's a great double hitter right there. So it just strengthens the keyword, it strengthens your listing. It continuously reminds the algorithm when I say hard candy, I mean Diana's candy. Does that make sense? Okay. Another thing that I love to do, especially as we head into a new season like now, is freshen up for the season. So here's some good examples, and I'm going to use some objects on my desk. If you sell candles, let's see if I can get this in front for you guys. This candle says leaves, but it's clearly a fall candle, right? So if I sell candles and I'm going into the fall, I'm going to want to take maybe even my enhanced brand content, but definitely my storefront and update it with images of fall. And you're going to change the content in your storefront to then depict that it's the fall season, like pumpkins and hay bales and leaves and, you know, people with long sleeve cardigans like me, right? With these kind of colors. And that's what you want to show up in your listings. So for my pro sellers that have been doing this for a while, think of these as some additional things that you could do to up level your account, especially as we head into Q4. Let me see if I have anything else on my list. I have freshen up your images and your enhanced brand content, update your storefront, and then update your pay-per-click. So we've already covered all that. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to move on to the next slide. I'm assuming that you guys have already done this now and that you know what your list is, okay? So now we're going to start bucketing all the tasks that you've identified into time frames, okay? So out of all the lists that we just talked about, where I broke down some action steps for Deborah, some action steps for John, and for the pro sellers that have been on Amazon for a while and just need kind of a kick in the butt, a kick in the listing to restart it, start bucketing out what you need to do, what you can do within the next 30 days. Maybe take 2 to 5 items off your list, put it in a 30-day bucket. Then take the next few and put them in a 60-day bucket. Put them in a 90-day bucket, put them in a six-month bucket, and then a year bucket. Some of these things might take you a while. Like if I'm Deborah and I'm just now starting, I might say, okay, within the next 30 days, I can commit to creating a Seller Central account, sending off for a trademark so I can get enhanced brand content, because that's really important. And we know that that's going to take her a while, so she can go ahead and move that into the 6-month bucket, because it might take 60 days, and I'm 60 days to 6 months to get that back. And then for Deborah, I might put in my 30-day time frame, purchase Merchant Words, purchase Jungle Scout, watch DIY videos on how to use the program. And then at 60 days, she could say, okay, by the 60-day mark, I need to have contacted 3 different factories and have them have samples on the way so I can review them. And then maybe within the 90-day bucket, she'll have hers chosen and she'll have an order placed. So for some of you that are pro sellers, so let's flip to the other side, you've been doing this for a while, what are some things that you guys can commit to in the next 30 days? Is easy, right? But it may be more granular for you than that. It might be set a calendar reminder to block off half of a day to research new keywords, or block off next Tuesday so that I can update all of my storefront. Or it might be contact local photographer and do a fall photo shoot for your products. Got it? Okay, if anybody wants to pop back into those comments, it feels very lonely when I'm not saying I'm talking to anybody. So if you guys want to pop in there and let me know you're alive and that this is resonating with you, let me know. I can only see John, and he's at least participating and fun. I can see his smirks or his laughs. So hopefully this is helpful. Thank you, Deborah. Deborah's like, I got this. So now you've got, and I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds to finish your list. What you're doing is you're creating a list of what you need to do for the next 30 days, writing and typing. Thank you, Robert. For the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, 1 year. And some of these tasks can be done pretty quickly. Some of them are going to take a little bit, like Deborah getting her trademark. That's going to take her a little bit. That's okay.
I think, Jennifer, too, I think that a lot of this is like, a lot of people are concentrating on Q4 and they should, but being that I've been around a long time, where are test orders and samples for like June, July, August, September of next year? So we're already knowing that the season is going to be there, and it takes a good, I would say, to get your samples, it can take a good 16 weeks to get samples that you're trying to get, and to get your product, be able to test your product. Now, Q4 is also a great time if they're looking for products to be able to test products, because you got the most eyeballs on Amazon for the whole year. So if you're looking to try a new product out, Q4 is a great time to do that, because you're never going to get a bigger audience than what you'll see in Q4.
Amen. Totally agree. All right. Okay, now that you've taken your 30, 60, 90-day bucket, I'm going to have you break this down even further into one more micro step. So for some of you, again, pro sellers, you may have already done this. You may have already micro stepped out. I'm going to contact the photographer. I'm going to block off on my calendar what to do. But Deborah, this may be something for you now that you have so much to do, girlfriend. I'm sorry. But now that you know your big buckets, you got to get to your granular buckets. The one that is by Merchant Words, by Jungle Scout. For some of you that are pro sellers, one thought I had is yours might be find a VA. You know, and John, I know John, you've got help. I've got help too. As you level up your business and level up your business, you can't do all of it. And especially if you want to live a life of automation, a life of ease, you can't do all of it. And I found with my business, I don't know about you, John, but I've grown more and I've made more in revenue when I have a team, when I have people that will support me, because I'm not good at everything. I'm not good at graphic design. I'm not great at figuring out Facebook ads. I'm not good at a lot of things. And I've had a team of up to 10 people. And when I really can say yes and grow to that level, I have $500,000 years plus, in revenue. So that's something to think about for you guys that are pro sellers is there anything you can put on your micro list, especially as we head into holidays, to automate your business, to up level your business? Maybe it's find a social media company and allow them to run a content, so you're not out there doing all of it, creating it all, batching it all, scheduling it all. I spent 4 hours last week batch creating all my content for the next month. And it's exhausting, especially if you're not good at it. It's like it takes even more brain power. So with this particular slide, I just wanted you guys to see if you could micro down any more, because your next thing that you're going to do is you're going to calendar it out. So you're going to want to have more than a big goal of, like Deborah, I need to figure out who the factory is and maybe get a sample. Like she has to actually action step how to get to the factory, and then, give her a timetable of when to actually order. And to John's point, when do you want to be, not in store, but virtually on shelf? Is there seasonality to your product? Are you selling a sunscreen wipe, right? You got to make sure you get there for late spring, early summer. Okay, so sorry, I'm one slide behind. This slide is just to remind you guys to micro step. Take your action steps, micro down. Okay, one thing I wanted to have a quick conversation about, because I know we're talking about steps and we're talking about sourcing and we're talking about time framing, is I don't know if any of you have thought about how you're gonna fund this. And it's kind of a tricky conversation, right? Because money always seems to make things a little tricky unless there's an abundance of it. Then you can do whatever the hell you want, right? But I had some ideas. And John, I don't know if you want to talk about this at all, maybe of your own experience, but I know with mine, when I first started my business, and a lot of you guys are in that space, John, I'll read your comment in just a second. I love that. A lot of you guys are in the same space. You are still in a 9 to 5, or you have several side hustles and you're just trying to make one work. Not all of us have a money tree in the backyard or a great aunt that just died and bequeathed us with $1 million, right? So we have to hustle. And you don't always have to hustle. I want you to know that, because I don't know, I doubt John hustles very hard these days. I don't hustle very hard these days. And when you get to build a team, you really don't have to hustle all that much. But in the beginning, you do. So one thought that I had was, the current job that you're in, whether you hate it or whether you love it, especially if you hate it, can that money help finance this new thing for you? Can it help finance your Amazon account? Can it help finance, Deborah's orders that she's going to need to make for jewelry, or John and his dog boots, or whatever it is you're going to make? Can your current job, as sucky as it might be, can it help fund that? And for a lot of us, it can. And the way that I looked at it is I self-funded, and I'm 100% self-funded. I've never had an investor. I've never taken out a loan. And I've, again, had a team up to 10. That takes a lot of cash to be able to pay all those people. What do you actually need to live on? I mean, really, truly. And I've taken another piece of paper before and just written out every bill. I've had to go through my statements to even try to figure out what the heck was all going out, and really, truly dive deep down to know what's the bare minimum that you have to make, and then anything extra, you scrape it off and you put it into this new fund, your Amazon fund, to do your new items. So that's just one idea. A second idea I had, and then I'll stop in just a second and let John talk, because I know I'm dominating this conversation. But a second idea is, can you do a side hustle? It has never been easier in the history of the world to make money. You could Uber, you could deliver food, you could be an online VA for someone else. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can make money sitting in your pajamas at home. Maybe that's an idea for some of you. A third one that I had was take out a loan. I mean, some of us actually do have to take out loans. And so if that's something that you end up having to do, kind of so be it, let it happen. Another thing would be sell something. So at one point, earlier this year, I sold $600 worth of clothes. I have this obsession with Stitch Fix. And so what I did was I took all the Stitch Fix clothes that no longer fit me, and I went ahead and just sold them in a Facebook group, made $600, and it paid for my Hawaii trip that I took earlier this year. So do you have $600 or $2,000 or $5,000 worth of something sitting around your house, or that motorcycle sitting in the garage that you haven't touched in, 15 years? Is there a way that you could just sell something to help fund this Amazon endeavor? Because the goal is to get you out of your 9 to 5. And so we've got to find some money to be able to do that. The last that I had was just to find an investor. A lot of times in communities like these, that there are people doing really, really well with their online businesses, and they want to help invest in the next person. And that's completely okay. So maybe reach out. John may also have some really good ideas about investors and opportunities in that space. John, did you want to pop in here at all and talk about any ideas that you might have on funding? No? Okay. All right. So let's move on to the next slide now that we've talked about funding for a bit. Now is the fun part. So what you're going to do is get out your calendar. This could be an online virtual calendar, which most of us have on our phones. This could be a paper calendar. I like to get really nerdy with it and print out my Outlook calendar so that I actually have like little boxes for each day. And you're going to calendar out every one of your action steps. But first, I want you to do something for me, okay? I want you to take your calendar and make sure that every big event that you may have going on in the next year is on it. I'm talking weddings, graduations, baby showers, anything that you might have, especially family vacations. And one thing to think about with that, start calendaring it out. And I'm just going to do a quick, is everyone here? Still here, because it's gotten very quiet in my chat box. Great. Okay, I see one from Diane. Brendan Burchard, I don't know if any of you guys, oh good, I'm loving this. Diane has been self-funded since she began in 2015. Deborah's here, everyone's still here. John, I don't see our videos anymore, so I don't know if the connection is broken between our video and the screen, but I can't see your face anymore, which is making me a little bit sad, but I'll keep going. Okay. Vacations. Brendan Burchard, if any of you guys follow him, says that he takes a vacation every quarter. Now, of course he can. He's Brendan Burchard. He makes like 50 bazillion, gazillion, trillion dollars a year, right? But I've really made it a practice in my own life. And I started doing this a little over a year ago, every quarter, at least taking a 3-day weekend, or sometimes taking a full week out of the quarter, because like, I don't know about you guys, but my mental state needs it. I'm freaking tired. Not all the time, but I have kids and an ex-husband and a current husband and a life and a dog and like all the things and business to run and staff to run. Like I need a break. And I'm sure that you guys feel the same way. So as you're calendaring out, I know you're listening to me, you're probably looking at your calendar, go ahead and put some time in there for you to rest, because your mental state needs it. Your family needs you to be rested, and your business needs you to be rested. So go ahead and put all those in. And once you have everything on the calendar and you got your calendar set for the next 12 months, and I'd even say 15 months, because we want to end 2019 strong, and then we want to take all of 2020 and put that into your plan. Let's make sure that A, we're taking care of ourselves, we're taking care of our family, we've got it all calendared out. Then, whenever you guys are finished there, go ahead and move into your micro step list, and you've already broken it out. Remember, your 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, 1 year, and you're going to put those into your calendar around your life. You're not putting your life around your work, you're putting your work around your life. And this is the only way that I have found that this actually works. This program that I'm teaching you today, I've done it with multiple business coaching clients over the last few years, and every time this works if you put it on the calendar. It's kind of like that same concept. If you want to lose weight, you just have to put going to the gym on your calendar, and then you hold it like it's precious. You hold it like it's a doctor's appointment that you know you're going to get fined $50 if you don't show up. The same thing with everything right now that you're calendaring out. You already have an appointment. So if anyone tries to book over this, I mean, unless it's a national emergency and you have to move it for real, you just say, I'm sorry, I already have an appointment at that time. Let's choose another date. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys some time to do this. And then if you want to just pop back into that chat box and let me know when you're finished. I want to give you enough time to finish this. We're doing great on time. We've only taken 30 minutes. Great, thank you, Deborah. Deborah's done. I'm gonna give everybody about 30 more seconds. I'm so proud of you guys. I know this is a lot. It's a lot to go through, especially if you're starting from scratch. Wonderful. All right, let me check on everybody else. I'm so proud of you guys too for using this chat. It makes me so excited. Robert, Jim, how you doing? Jen, Tom's on here. Seeing if I'm missing anybody. John, okay, so I'm going to read you some of these questions while you guys are calendaring. John asked us, are we looking to add evergreen products or just seasonal? And you asked this 15 minutes ago, so hopefully you've figured out which item you picked out. I would say either. I mean, this is really, this is a process you guys can go through all throughout the year. So I'm talking just specifically right now, if you guys watch this webinar in the future, we're in the last 90 days of the decade. We're in the last 90 days of 2019, and we're already a good week in. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling like this imminence of the future is coming, and I need to finish this year out really strong. And so it's important for me to make sure that everything I'm currently doing as I head into Q4 with all of my clients is perfect, from keywords to listings to seasonality to changing out storefronts, all of that. We're just doing it rapidly within the next week or two, just making sure that it's all finished as we head into the end of October. So you can choose a seasonal item, you can choose an evergreen item, it doesn't matter. For those of you that are new like Deborah, choosing an evergreen item is really smart on Amazon for long-term sales success. Amazon system loves history. It loves sales, loves history. So if you can pick some items that are going to be high volume, maybe lightweight, expensive, high volume, especially consumable being important, those are great items to build the evergreen part of your business. Then go add those seasonal things once you're established. So I'm assuming that, John, with your question, that you're a pro seller and you've been selling for a while. So you can choose a seasonal item if you want. John came in here about 5-10 minutes ago and said, when you outsource the tasks that you do not need to be doing, that is when you will see your growth. It's true. And Diane says that she just hired a Facebook ad manager. Good job, Diane. God, letting go of pieces of our business can be so hard, can't it? Like, I remember when I first outsourced my first person and there was this pit in my stomach and I was like, oh, I don't want to release the control. But when I finally released, that's when sales started coming in. When I finally got my branding right, that's when my ideal customer showed up. When I finally paid the money to make those things happen, that's when my business finally took off. So that's awesome. And then Diane also had mentioned she's self-funded since 2015. Awesome. Good job. Okay, I only hear that Deborah's done. Is anyone else finished? John, do you feel like everyone else is finished? I'll let you pop back in since I can't see your face anymore. And maybe pop back into our chat and let us know. I don't want to hurry you guys because we do have more time if you need it. And the calendaring exercise is the most important. We want to make sure that you have all your little tasks on there. Todd Schaefer says, rolling all your profits back in. Todd, that's totally up to you, and it would depend on where you are in life. So let's pretend, because I don't know who you are. But Todd, if you're sitting in a cubicle or wherever, you have a 9-to-5 job. Let's say you have a 9-to-5 job, you're making at least 100K, you feel great financially, but you know that you want to have an Amazon business for yourself that supports you as you move into retirement, or that supports you in the next 1 to 2 years when you decide to retire, whatever that might be. And you can retire at 30, it doesn't matter. I would say yes. If you have the ability to roll your profits back into your Amazon business, to pour it back into ad spend, pour it back into, use influencer marketing, do whatever you can to grow your brand, yes. If that is an option for you, yes. Love that question. You guys feel free to send me more if you have them. I'm trying to think of when you wouldn't want to. I have many clients right now that are very small volume. I'd say $500,000, like less than $1 million a year kind of clients. And I typically don't take those on, but I had some that I thought were just going to be amazing on Amazon, and it's taken some work to grow them. But for them, they can't put their profits all back in. Like for them, they've quit their jobs and this is their full-time business. And so we have to make sure that every single month they're profitable. So I do have each one of my clients commit to $500 a month marketing spend minimum. And in some categories, I might ask for $1,000 to $1,500. For example, I have one gal that does kids gummy vitamins. I mean, can you guys even imagine how expensive the keywords are in kids gummy vitamins? They're $5 to $10 plus a click. A click. So for her, I've had her commit to $1,500 a month in marketing spend, and the ACoS is just atrocious. So every month we just try to get better. We try to get better. So it just really depends on how competitive your category is. Okay, I'm going to assume that everyone is finished at this point. John, continue to put in questions if you're getting them from other accounts that I might not be able to see, and I can always go back and answer anything. This portion is wrapping up the end of our conversation together. This slide says, now just go do it. So you guys have all the tools that you need to make this happen. And anyone that's rewatching this webinar has the tools. You guys know how to go from big picture all the way down to micro level, and then all the way back up again as you build it all into your calendar. So now you have a 12-month plan of exactly what to do every single month for the next year. And you can revisit this exercise at any time. So if you get to the end of December and you were able to knock off month, 30 day, 60 day, 90 day immediately, and you're like, okay, now what do? I don't want to have to wait for, the 6 month mark. Revisit this, do this again, make your lists again. Your list will also change. You're going to have more things to put on your list than what you have today, because you're going to have more new information. So I hope that this was really helpful for you guys. I'm going to close us up, and as I can close us up, you guys feel free to put more questions in that chat box. I am here until John says I don't need to be here anymore, so I've got 15 more minutes if you need me. Diana from Facebook says, I also use a prep center to send in all my products. Very smart. I'm wondering if this prep center might be one that John owns, because I know he does that. There he is.
I lost you for a good 20 minutes. My computer crashed. I don't know what happened to it, but I could hear you. I have other computers. I just couldn't respond to you. So you did really great.
You were doing wonderful. So Diane, does she use your prep center, John?
I don't know who that Diane is. I can't see the last name. So I'm not sure. Interesting. Do you want me to go ahead and wrap up with my closing slides, or did you want to jump in here at all? I missed quite a bit of the, I'm trying to get to the technical stuff of it, but to get back on. But guys, if you have any questions, now's the time to ask Jennifer the questions. Like I said, I've been trying to behind the scenes get back on here, and I heard you calling me, and it's like, I don't see him. And I was like, oh no. It went great, don't worry. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to jump in if you had anything you wanted to say. Well, yeah, like I said, I mean, now in Q4, you touched on some great points. I mean, Q4 is the best time to get into the game if you're not in the game. You've got the most eyeballs out there. You talked a little bit about Jungle Scout and things like that. Some of the things that I also look at when I'm scouting products, new products, is, and a lot of people do this, but I'm also don't, is check Facebook reviews on products that you're thinking about bringing it to the market, and kind of see the ones out there that have the 1s and 2s and what people are saying they don't like about them and things that they wish that they had, and see if it's easy for you to duplicate that without making sure that you're not copying the product if it's got a copyright or something like that, or an infringement or something like that. You want to make sure, but make those changes, and it's very simple to do. There's a lot of products out there where you can simply add another pocket or something to simplify it for the customer who's asking for it, or make the strap a lot more firmer, or just make the product more ruggeder. I mean, just look at those comments and see. And the other thing when you're searching for products is make sure you're looking in groups and see what people are talking about. And the easiest way to get started with a product that I found out is when people are talking about something. It may be on the market. It may not be on the market. It may be available, but not on the market. Find out what people are talking about. And it's easier to start a test product when you have an audience that's talking about it than having somebody else that's actually got a product that you're trying to either make better, or you're thinking about bringing a product to market. Like what I'm talking about with the dog booties for dogs that are old, that can't walk and they have a hard time. Well, that comes to me personally because my dog is 15 years old and she's a lab and she can barely walk. I mean, so I'm like heartfelt about how do I help her. And
Yeah.
I've done some research on there to see if, there's a need for it. And there are some things out there, but if you go and do research on it, you'll find out that the people that actually have the products out there, they're saying they fall off their feet or it hurts their paws or the padding underneath is not good enough for them. They need better support. You can find the answers you're looking for just by researching.
I love that. And I feel like we could take a hybrid of what I've talked about and what you've just said, because one of the questions was, do I create a seasonal item or an evergreen item? And I said, well, it depends. I would always start with something evergreen and then add seasonality. And then we had a couple questions kind of about timing. You mentioned, John, if you're creating an item, it's really not for Q4, it's for next year, which is all true. So I would say, as you're looking at your calendar that you just created, take the next 90 days, take the next month, and just get your shit ready for Q4. Like, that's the most important thing, is to optimize and make sure that you're capitalizing on the biggest selling season of the year, but also be prepared for next year. Put that in your calendar. Maybe it's the 30-day or 60-day mark. Within the 60 days, have your product research done, like John just mentioned, have your new list of items. You know how you made your list of 10? Maybe you can take that list and then start scratching things off or add things to it, and then go take action on it. That's the biggest thing coming out of this webinar, is I want you guys to go take action. You've got your calendars, you have no excuses, so you know exactly when you need to go do it, right? We have some more questions too. We have a couple ones. So Diana says that she sells in Canada, and she's looking at using John's Prep Center in the future. And then we have another question that says, is it a good idea to hire someone to create listings? John, what do you think?
I try not to hire anybody to do my listings. For some reason, I just take that as a personal thing. There are people out there, but I think that's also just self-inflicted of me not letting go of that part. I just don't like to let go. And if there's any mistakes with it, it's just, there's a lot of liability in that. When they create your listings like that. As far as images and things like that, yeah, because we have a lot of people that ask us in our prep center, can you create the listings for us? If we just don't, I know we can get permission to go into their accounts and do it that way, but it's just something that we don't do. There are a lot of people out there that will do it for you and do it good for you, but it's just something that's just one of those things that unfortunately we still have our hands in as far as creating the listings. Now, we do have VAs that help us, but it's different having a VA working for you that might be only doing something for you versus doing it for 10 or 11 other people.
It's true. And I'll play devil's advocate. I mean, I do agree with you, John. We do all of our listings by hand. And it's because if you don't create your listings correctly, it's the detriment of your account. Your sales are only as good as your listings, and your listings are only as good as your keywords. And if you haven't properly optimized your account with sales converting keywords, adding enhanced brand content, adding a store, doing all the things Amazon's algorithm wants you to do, you're not going to make sales. You're not going to be found. If you don't advertise, you're not going to be found. However, I'll play devil's advocate, because that question may have come because someone has 500 listings to put up, or 100 or whatever. There are absolutely companies, like John said, that can do it for you. I know Merchant Words has a service where you can pay them a certain amount of money. And I mean, clearly they have great search volume information. They could go in there and build them for you. I would say, but still take the time to learn how to craft your own listings and understand the logic behind them, because you're going to need to update them, right, John? I mean, we are updating our listings all the time because shoppers change. The way that we search for things change. Our preferences change. Marketing is constantly swaying us. Whatever's hot today is not hot tomorrow. And so if your listings don't reflect that, again, your sales are only as good as your listings, and your listings are only as good as your keywords. And if they're not relevant, there are no sales, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I just look at it, there's Merchant Word, there's companies out there like Merchant Words. However, if everybody's using those services, at some point, you got to look at if they're all doing the same thing. How are you going to optimize your listing if everybody else is doing the same thing? So I always think of thinking out of the box, think of creative ways to do it. And also, before you jump in and use, like my good friends at Merchant Words, George, and
we love George. Go watch his video. with John. It's great.
Before you jump in and do something like that, it's a good idea to make sure that you know how to create a listing yourself, because you can't have somebody create it for you if you don't know what they're creating.
Truth. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you one more chance. Does anybody have any other questions before we wrap this up?
And I didn't get a chance to see if you had a link or anything that you put at the bottom for them. I couldn't see it for the last 20 minutes. So if they want to contact you, I know we have a special offer for them as well. So I don't know if you put that up or not in your slides.
I haven't. I'm about to go through, just because I don't want to leave you guys hanging. And what we covered today, there's a lot that comes after it. So I'll go through that, John, while we wrap this up. But I haven't provided any links. So John, do you want to do that? Do you have like webinar notes or like a wrap-up email or anything? I sent you a couple different links to everything. Okay.
Give me a few minutes to get it. I had
Perfect.
it, but my computer crashed, so let me just
No. You're doing such a great job. We're just glad you're here. Okay, so I wanted, like I said, I don't want to leave you guys hanging. You didn't know who I was, 45 minutes ago, and I don't blame you for that. That's totally fine. Now you know who I am. So my website is website, that's my email address. My website is jenniferkaylaruskin.com. It looks like this. If you land on something that looks like this, you're in the right spot. And I have tons of free content. Tons, like mountains. Like you could go years and read all the stuff that I've written or podcasts that I've recorded if you are looking for free information. So there's this, just so that you know what it looks like when you get on it. And then I actually have a webinar tomorrow that covers the next steps. So Deborah, this would be perfect for you, especially as you're learning how to craft your item pages, how you're learning how to craft your keywords, put it all in there and optimize. That's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. So it's 3 steps to optimizing your Amazon sales. This is probably a level 2. So Deborah, if you do watch it, you may not know what it all means, but you'll definitely be able to see like, what does merchant words look like? And how do I use that in conjunction with Jungle Scout? How do I find a keyword for me? And then how do I put it in my listings? And where does the algorithm scroll? And how do I optimize that? We're going to cover all of that tomorrow at noon. Oh, John, you're not talking to me, are you? So that's what tomorrow is all about. I'd love for you guys to join if you would like to. John, are you checking those notes? You good? You got them? Okay. The other thing
it's on top of it.
You guys are awesome. I'm so great. One other thing I wanted to mention, and this is the offer, the thing John was talking about. After tomorrow's webinar, I'll be announcing publicly that I am opening up a group coaching program for Amazon, for anybody that sells on Amazon. It's a 3-week program. It starts October 18th. It's really a way to get to work one-on-one with me, which I'm really excited about because a lot of my stuff it's online. Like if you look at my website, I have online courses, but you don't get access to me unless you're part of my group, which I'll show you one more slide. I promise I'm not going to bore you with a million slides. I just want to make sure that you're able to contact and reach out so you know what to do next if that's what you're looking for. So I am launching a group coaching program. John has a link that ties directly to him, and it'll have some more information on it. And the last thing I just wanted to do was invite you guys. I have a online Facebook group called the Retail Success Group and Challenge. When you sign up for it, you get 6 full days of challenges. So kind of like we did today, we go really deep into who is your ICA, and let's list that out. There's PDFs, there's downloadables. You actually work through each one of the worksheets, and then you come out at the end of the 6 days with a whole like marketing plan, how to market to your ideal ICA on whatever platform you're on, which is super duper cool. So you can find that on my website underneath freebie. Thank you, John. They're plugging all the little links in there for you guys. So Jen L says, how do we register for the webinar? There's a link in there that John just popped in there for you. Like I said, the webinar is completely free. The group coaching program is just under $1,000, and it's a 3-week program where you get one-on-one coaching with me and help. The link is not in the chat. Oh, Jen, it's right above you. Here, we can resend it for you. And Jen, what a fabulous name. What a fabulous name you have that we share. Anybody else have any questions before we wrap up? Please let me know if this was helpful. Hopefully John will have me on again a 3rd time, and I'd love to know what kind of types of content you're looking for. Jen says the links are not coming, so I don't know if you guys can maybe help her get that figured out. Jen, are you on, John's posting this through multiple different channels. Are you watching this on Facebook or some other way, like through a webinar, maybe through ProSeller Talk? The links are not coming through on her Zoom. I don't know.
We are resending right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can see him, and maybe too, if you or Brianna could do like a direct message to her, that might actually push it through all the way. They just came over now. Great. Yeah, you guys are welcome to email me too if you have any trouble or links aren't working at jennifer@jenniferkayloruskin.com. I think we're done, John. That's all I have.
All right, guys, any final questions for Jennifer? Anything else? Guys, if you love this information and you appreciate Jennifer sharing time with us, type a 1 in there. Let us know, let her know you appreciate her coming in here and sharing everything she did with you guys today. I think she shared with you a lot of information and a lot of action steps that you guys can put in place. Look at that, you're getting those 1s.
Yay, thanks, Robert.
Type a 2, guys, if you'd like to see Jennifer come back and talk about another subject and what subject you might want her to talk about. So we have another what we can bring
1 and 2.
What would you like
Thanks,
Jennifer
Jen.
to come back and talk about? We're getting 2s.
Thanks, Deborah. Thank you, Jim.
Any topic you guys would like to see Jennifer come in and talk about? Maybe I can convince you to come back in less than 2 years.
Scaling. Okay.
They said we'll know more after tomorrow. That.
Okay, that's great.
Okay, so sounds like
Great.
Jennifer. Sounds like Jen's holding you accountable.
I see that. Thank you, Diane.
All right, I think we're gonna sourcing wholesale accounts.
Okay.
Scaling and sourcing wholesale accounts.
And I am sure that John has had other hosts that have talked about these exact subjects. I'm sure he's had multiple. So John, I don't know how you might want to link back to those, but I'm sure there's already current content out there about this.
Yeah, they can check it out. I'll put the link in here on ProSellerTalk.com. I mean, there's over 100 webinars in there with every subject you can think of from just about every platform, from Amazon to Shopify to Walmart to Jet, all kinds of things like that.
Perfect.
I'm going to put it in here right now. So we have.
And Jen, all of my clients are wholesale. I actually don't do any private label right now for Amazon or Walmart. Okay, wholesale.
Check out that link. That's where all these webinars will be hosted at some point. They all end up there. This is the 105 show. So I've actually hosted 105 shows now. It doesn't seem like it, but time flies. It's almost 3 years since I've been actually started this. I started this over 4 years ago. I thank you guys for being here and continuing to watch. And hopefully I'm providing the value that helps you guys grow your businesses. That's my #1 goal, is to bring guests on here like Jennifer, who's been on here before, to come in here and provide the value for you guys to be able to take your businesses to the next level. I will continue to do that and continue to bring the guests on that will help you get to that next level. Jennifer, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us again. And I'm excited to continue to watch your journey and as you grow and all the things you've been doing in the last year and a half. One thing as an entrepreneur myself, I envy, where you are and where you came from in your story. So God bless you and all that you do and you continue to do for sellers. And until next time, guys, thanks for joining us. If you don't have any last minute questions for Jennifer or myself, we're going to let you go. Until next time, this is the JV Show 105 signing off.